having a fucking good time. And this went on for like a week straight. We just hung out doing heroin for like a week. This is one of my best friends. To this day, we had a fallout, but still, I still consider him. I still love him. So, and so after that, I started kind of liking heroin. So because I went from such a low point in my life to having such a fun time with him doing heroin the whole week, and just like, I mean, we just hung out and had a fucking blast the whole time. So after that experience, the weather was starting to clear up a little bit. The weather was clear and nice enough, above 30s for me to go out and make money. So I'm back to work, and he lived right by where I worked in Central Park. So a lot of the days he would come by while I was working, we'd be bullshitting, and then we'd go hang out in his apartment for a little while. And at the time, I was sleeping at an internet cafe, so I'd leave his apartment and go stay at the internet cafe. And he had a roommate who, she really ran the apartment. She was paying most of the rent and kind of letting him stay there, so he couldn't just let me stay in his fucking apartment, because he was lucky to be staying there. Like, this chick was on the verge of kicking him out constantly. So I was staying in an internet cafe, but so a lot of the days when I'd finish working, we'd go over there and I'd do a little bump of heroin, we'd play some chess and hang out, and then I'd go to the internet cafe, and it just kind of turned into a habit. And then, like, the next thing I know, one day I'm at the internet cafe, and at this point in my life, I'm starting to really look forward to the end of the day when I can go do some heroin, and like, it creeps up on you, man, and it just kind of grows on you. You acquire a taste for it, So, I wasn't doing it like every day. I was doing it maybe 3 times a week or so, and I'm not even paying for it. He's just giving me a bump when I ask him for it. And I'm really kind of starting to like it, to be honest. And I'm thinking, I can do it 3 times.
Oh shit, that's where you went wrong, bro.
It ain't nothing. But the next thing I know, one day I'm at the internet cafe. I hadn't done any heroin that day, and all of a sudden I can't sleep. Like, I just couldn't, and I couldn't fall asleep that night, and I was starting to feel, I just felt fucking off. I didn't know what it was. I was
time to crack one open,
and I couldn't get comfortable. I mean,
hell yeah.
When I was staying at the internet cafe, we were sleeping in these like recliner chairs where we'd pay for it.
So before I start this video again, let me tell you guys what I completed. So off stream, I went ahead and completed a couple of quests. So I did Lost City. One sec. Yep, so I did Lost City. So I think that's one of the requirements for Dragon Dagger, I think. I don't know. I forgot, but I did Lost City. I did Fairy Tale, first part. I also started Fairy Tale 2 to be able to use the rings. So that's a big accomplishment. So I can get around by the Fairy Tale network now. Did the Another Cook's quest for our RFD. Also freed the goblins for RFD. Finished Sea Slug. Finished Fishing Contest. I freed the Mountain Dwarf for RFD. Can't remember if I did Mountain Daughter, but then I got stuck because I was going to do Ret Catchers on stream, but I decided to go PKing, and I didn't know I had my kitten on me, and it died for the 4th fucking time. So fuck that shit. I'm done raising the kitten till later. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So I guess I wanted to do Rat Catchers in the feud, but I can't now. So now I'm just leveling up my skills. As you can see, I'm up to 24 fletching. I'm up to 41 herb. And some other levels that I received. I do have to do a birdhouse run, so I'll go do that later, but the account progression is looking good. I'm surprised I haven't quit yet. But yeah. Just a little, update on the skills and stuff.
overnight.
I'm gonna go ahead and play this video because it's kind of interesting.
They don't bother you. They let you sleep there. And although eventually all the homeless people coming in there starting fights and fucking doing drugs and wreaking havoc, eventually it all got shut down. But so at this point it was still going. So I couldn't fucking get comfortable. I couldn't get to sleep. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I just knew I didn't feel right. And so then very, very kind of abruptly around 6 in the morning, I just kind of fell asleep. And I woke up the next day and I felt all right. And I realized that I had been in a slight state of withdrawal because I hadn't done any fucking heroin the day before. And I was like, holy shit. I just kicked heroin, you know what I mean? But it was so slight and it was so kind of, it only lasted that one night. So I was thinking to myself, wow, I need to be careful with this shit because I kind of just got over that and I don't really need it right now. But now I'm starting to get it, you know what I mean? I'm starting to see that it is very addictive, you know? So from that point on...
Bro, just say no to drugs. I'm gonna be honest. Just say no to drugs. It doesn't do anything for you. I've seen it fuck up everyone. A lot of people's lives. You know? A lot of people's lives.
You're doing it every fucking day. And then the next thing you know, you can't even fucking function without it. For me, the next thing I know, I'm buying it. I'm not even fucking... I mean, it's $10 a bag in New York City at this time, and it's good, strong fucking heroin. So that's how I got addicted to it. But the thing with me is, you know, I had done larger amounts of heroin at this point, and I realized that I like to do just a little bit because if you do just a little bit, it kind of revs you up. It doesn't knock you out. If you do just a little too much, it'll knock you out. You'll be higher.
You're playing with fire, bro. Like, it's just not.
You know, you'll be
don't do it
out and you'll be fucking out of it. But if you do just the right amount, it revs you up. So that's what I used to do. I used to buy a bag of dope and I would just do little tiny bumps all throughout the day just to kind of rev me up and make me feel good, you know? I didn't want to do any more than that and be like knocked the fuck out. I had experienced that before. I prefer to just be a little revved up. But eventually you get to a point where your tolerance starts going up, you start doing more and more, you start wanting to get more fucked up. Eventually, you're going to be the one nodding out. Like, it's inevitable.
Definitely click that, but... Because I'm just too fast for the game, huh? I'm trying to get 750 so I can practice LMS. I'm at 722 right now, so I'm just trying to get as many levels as possible so I can start going to LMS.
They even noticed me, and they're like, you can't be sitting in here doing, like, looking like that. And I'm like, holy shit, I've turned into one of these fucking dopehead homeless zombies that can't even sit in Starbucks without being noticed. It's like everyone knows I'm on fucking drugs. So I left there. I didn't want to be sitting there looking like that. And I was sleeping outside of a church at this point. I had ditched the internet cafe. There was too much crazy shit happening there. People all stealing from each other. I managed to never get anything stolen from me, but I didn't want to keep pushing my luck in there. There's a lot of desperate fucking homeless lunatics in there, and I was friends with a lot of them, but there was also, and another thing, there was fucking, a lot of the people in there had bed bugs, and I didn't want to be around that shit. I didn't want no fucking bed bugs on me. So, yeah, bed bugs is a real thing in New York City. It's like, I never even knew they were a real thing until I lived on the street in New York, and I realized that this is actually a thing that people deal with. So I stopped staying there mainly because of all the fucking lunatics and the bed bugs and the filth and the disgusting situation. So my buddy Ilya, who, you ever seen that movie Heaven Knows What? It's about Ilya. They made a movie about him and Harley, his girlfriend. Ilya, he's not the one who got me on heroin, but he was probably my best friend on the street. And in that movie, Heaven Knows What, I gotta say, that kid played Ilya pretty good. That was how Ilya, that was how he was. But so, Ilya had left me, he ended up getting a room from, like, the homeless outreach people, and he left me his spot at this church on the Upper West Side, which is one of the best spots on the street. I ended up staying in that spot on and off for, like, the next 7 years. So, it was a great spot. So anyways, I leave Starbucks. It's probably like 10, 11 at night, and I go to my spot in front of the church. I do the rest of my dope, and this is when I OD'd. So I'm just sitting there fucking nodding out and shit, and then all of a sudden I wake up because I wasn't breathing, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, so see, I didn't realize that when you OD on heroin, I assumed like your heart stopped or something, you know. But what happens is you're so fucking wasted that when you pass out, your body doesn't even breathe. You're so out of it that your brain isn't even functioning enough to breathe. So that's how people OD on heroin. They're so fucked up that they nod out and their brain doesn't breathe and they just suffocate. That's what happens. So I'm sitting there, and every time I nod out, what's waking me up is the fact that I'm not breathing, and I'm alone on the street. And I realize that if I nod out, I'm gonna fucking die. Now, fortunately for me, I was slightly OD'd, but this is where I really learned a harsh lesson about ODing on heroin. So it's not an unpleasant experience. I was high as a fucking kite, and the truth is, I didn't even fucking care. I was so fucked up. I was just like, I said to myself, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. I don't even life was such a chore at that point that I really didn't even care that much. I didn't want to die, but I didn't care. I really just didn't fucking care. And I said to myself, like, it's up to God, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna try to stay awake. I'm not just gonna fucking lay down and die. So I was trying to keep myself up, but I kept nodding out and waking up from lack of oxygen, and this went on for a couple of hours until it started to wear off, and then I was kind of out of the woods. But that's what it's like to OD on heroin. And my buddy Ilya, who I mentioned before, he must have OD'd for 5 times the whole time I knew him. He ended up dying of a OD. In the movie, heaven knows what, they have him dying from something else, but the truth is he died of a heroin overdose. And
That's wild.
He didn't even, when the movie came out, he was still alive. He ended up dying afterwards. But
Say no to drugs.
But yeah, most of the people I hung out with back then are dead of a heroin overdose because, you know, life
Oh,
was
why
so
aren't these
brutal on
irrits
the street
selling?
that
Hurry the hell up.
Just like they felt like me. They were just like, whatever. If I fucking die, I die. You know what I mean? But that was the one and only time that I OD'd. I was real careful after that. And fortunately,
So expensive, dude.
Right when the fucking fentanyl was starting to take over. I used to try
What else do I
to get
need?
fentanyl
An eye of
because it was
newt. I
stronger
need.
and get me more fucked up.
I have
But
newts.
I'm good. But
Let's go at
it was
622.
only around occasionally. when I was
3K,
doing
nice.
heroin. And fortunately for me, by the time I was out of that scene, the fentanyl was, you know, taken over. But
Let's
by
go
then,
over
I was
here.
on Suboxone, and I was
Go
kind
over
of done with
here.
heroin anyway.
Boom, boom.
I guess that's
We're gonna
about
try to
it.
get 52 and then boom, boom.
But yeah, that's
Move on to another skill.
That's what it feels like to OD. It's not unpleasant. You won't even fucking notice. You wouldn't even know. You would just die, and you wouldn't even know it. You would suffocate, and you wouldn't even know it. Because you're so
Damn, dude.
you're just so fucked up that you're in another fucking world, and you wouldn't feel a thing. And at my buddy's house, when people would OD there, and it happened, people, if you're new to heroin and you think you're gonna do a big line of it, you're gonna fucking OD almost 100% of the time. Like, you gotta, if you ain't never done heroin, you better do a tiny fucking amount. In fact, don't fucking do it at all. But like in Pulp Fiction, when she does that fucking rail, she thinks it's cocaine and it's heroin. Yeah, that's exactly what
We're gonna knock these 622 out.
But
And then I think we're gonna move on to what's another quick and easy skill. Maybe I should start rune crafting a little bit because that one is not looking good. Other than that, the stats are looking pretty decent.
I mean, we'd make sure they didn't fucking die, but it was like protocol, man. Like,
I'm getting around 1400 XP per inventory right now.
Everyone's not
Nice.
going to fucking jail over it, dude. They're gonna fucking get you to to a fucking hospital and go back about their lives. You know
Quick
what I mean?
maths.
And they're not gonna fucking be calling the cops or an ambulance to their address. They're gonna fucking bring you out on the street and call the fucking ambulance, and that's, you know, that's how it's gonna go. Ain't nobody going to jail over it, because the people who do heroin, they're just like, man, you know, don't fuck my shit up. You better do it right. You know, the people who sell heroin, when people OD on their shit, they get fucking mad, dude. Like, you know, the people who are dealing around that part of Manhattan, they didn't even want to sell to people like Ilya because he was known for ODing. So they're like, I don't want him fucking dying on my shit, dude. I don't need that on my conscience. I don't need that. I just don't need that kind of fucking attention. You know what I mean? So no one likes when people are fucking ODing and shit. You know. But and then another. One of the ways that a lot of people die from heroin.
I mean, if I was a drug dealer and I OD'd, I mean, I had somebody OD on my shit,
just for old time's sake, and they end up doing. They want to get.
I'd be pretty depressed.
They think that they know heroin, you know. So what they'll do is they'll do the same amount they used to do, or just a little less, and they're fucking dead. They OD. That's what happened to fucking.
Ooh,
if you're
lad
getting
Bible.
tortured, you're gonna speak, aren't you? If you're getting tortured, you're losing toenails, you're losing fingernails, they're cutting fingers off, they're doing things to your colleagues. You're gonna have to talk eventually.
Lad be dropping bangers. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was born in Leicester and I grew up in Leicester, born in 1977.
Leicester.
So none
Where the hell was that?
Because you look all far too young for that. And I lived on an estate just near Victoria Park called Cloudham Park. It was all right, little terrace house. And me, my parents, 2 brothers, sister, a dog in a 3-bedroom house, so it was quite tight.
And what were you like growing up?
Useless. So I was in trouble all the time. I tried to fit in, I tried to be the class joker. I weren't the cleverest at school either, so academically I was pretty thick, so I needed to do something different.
And then as you got older, like progressing into a teenager, what sort of like teenager were you like?
Still the same, just always trying to rebel. I had quite long hair, believe it or not, like down to here.
And then why did you decide to join the army?
One of my friends, he was interested in joining, so I just went to the careers office with him to just sort of hold his hand really, because he was quite nervous, and I ended up joining. They were quite clever. They said, oh, do you fancy doing the test as well? I went, yeah, I've got the test. And it was like a little barb test you did on a computer. You do a couple of press-ups, a couple of pull-ups, some sit-ups. And then he said, oh, you can join a combination of different regiments and stuff. So I ended up joining, and they proper duped me into it. Then my mate didn't join. He didn't end up joining. He went to be a manager of a supermarket. So I'm glad I joined the army. I didn't want to manage a supermarket. I couldn't have done it. And they were so nice. So they were really clever at getting you in. So they get you in. Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Yeah, can you do this? Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. And then it came to actually signing the oath of allegiance, which is where you're officially the army's property. And I thought I'd be smart. I put my hair in a ponytail. That's how long it was. I tied it all back. Oh, Mr. Dilks, you can join now. So I signed it. He went, oh, in this modern army, you can keep that long hair. I was like, can I? And he went, yeah, in a box under your bed, get it cut. So I ended up just shaving my head, just thinking I need to get used to it, and then that was it. Then I was in, signed my oath of allegiance, and then I joined in September. Yeah, 6th of September 1993, I was in.
And what was your first role in the army?
I went to Chepstow, so it was like an apprentice college. So you joined at 16, you're not allowed to go to war at 16. So we did 9 months of just getting thrashed up and down, normal armies, training, weapons, fitness, basic field craft and things like that, and then did that for 9 months. Then we went to Chatham and did our trade training, which was
actually,
so we went and did that, and then
let's go do a birdhouse run.
Course. I went to Gibraltar Barracks to do my combat engineering, which is where you do water supply, bridging, explosives,
willows, hammer.
Sort of stuff that you'd use as like
Let me grab that chisel too.
Let's
Let's not forget the seeds.
And then I stayed there for probably.
And then let's not forget
Jumping out of planes and blowing stuff up.
the stem, just in
And then at what
case.
point you start to think, this isn't for me. Can you tell me about that?
What
Yeah,
else
I
do I
got
need? Oh, dig site
from
pendant.
My second Afghanistan at bomb disposal. And I thought,
Alright.
I need to
And
move
let's
or
go
do
get this
something different. I've just
dumbass.
been promoted as well. And I went, I'm pretty much looking to get out. One of my old bosses got in touch,
Let's try to raise a kitten again.
jumped the gun. Have you thought about doing this?
Hopefully it doesn't die for the
And
fifth
the
fucking time.
interrogation. And I said, well, I've never really considered it. And he was trained
Some
in it. He
bullshit.
said, oh, you've probably got a few skills that we could take away from this and you could use in interrogation. So before you leave, do you want
Oh
to do
no, I need
the
coins.
trial course for it? And they
Shit.
send you an email with some criteria that you need to practice, you need to read up on. So a bit of equipment, what the role of SEER does, which is search, evade, resist, extract. So it's about the SEER side of life and how that works.
We had SEER training too,
And then
huh?
You go on this little afternoon where you turn up at Chicksands, and it was a very strange experience. So you go in, and I was nice and smart in a suit. You introduce yourself, you go and have a brew.
Here we go.
So they've really calmed you down at the time. And then you go outside, and then there's 3 porter cabins. And she goes, oh, this first porter cabin,
Just gonna make a habit
I want you
of.
to go in and with any means sort of possible, just try and build a rapport with a person. I don't really understand what you mean.
Don't
with
die on me,
build
kitten.
rapport. Well, just build rapport, and I want you to sort of try and get the name out of them and what they do as a job.
Just grab a wealth.
Right,
Let's grab one of these.
weird.
Let's go to
Got
Fossil
50
Island.
minutes. So it's just open the door of this porter cabin. You walk in, they've done it like a pub. So it just looks like a little pub. And there's a bloke sat
what's
there, it's just
my-
me and him.
I'm 3400 right now.
He was really
I think I
one-page
can move
paper,
on to the
paper
next
How much was
birdhouse.
that? Daily Mail,
So
look at that.
actually, before I do that,
So yeah.
let's check out the
Bit Alan Partridgey. Reading the
teak.
paper. What are you reading there? And he's like, oh, nothing. And you've got to try and build that rapport, but you have to just keep trying to talk to him, keep asking. And eventually he sort of warms to you and keeps talking. And it's all to see how you can build that rapport. So you do that first room, then you come out, and then they go, oh, the next room. They've just smashed into your car. All I want you to do is really, they've smashed your car, they don't care. They're being really rude to you. And all I want you to do is just shout at them for 5 minutes, but you're not allowed to shout directly into their ears. So you go, oh, I reckon I can do that. It's a bit easier. You open the door, and there's just a 5-foot woman stood there, like just smiling at you. And it's
Boom.
the really unnatural thing to do is just go and start berating and shouting
Nice.
at a person who looks really vulnerable.
Let's empty
So you go
this.
shout at them for 5 minutes, just call them all of the names under the sun,
Nice.
and just go for it. And then they come in and go, thank you, Ian. And then they bring you back outside and they go, right, the last room, you just got to stay quite calm. You go in there, and then there's just 2 big burly blokes just going,
Head over to Mushroom
you
Meadows.
walk in, the door closes, and they're just grabbing you, pointing at you.
Yup,
What's
yup.
going on here? I'm still in the army, aren't I? And you think, what is going on? It was so realistic. And then they assess you on how you do on that. And then you come out, door closes, and then they go, is there any questions for us, Ian? No. We'll be in touch. And then that's it. You get back in your car and drive out of camp and go, what's just happened then? That was the bizarrest thing I've ever had happen to me. I got a phone call saying, would you like to come on the course? And then I stayed in the army then. So it's like one of the best things I did, really. You turn up on the first day, you meet this weird bunch of people that are all on the course. I think there's about 15, 20 of us that all want to be budding interrogators. And then you just go through
I
load of
forgot to
different
put
scenarios. So you'll
seats
go
in this
through
one.
questioning techniques.
I started off
go
with
through
220, I believe.
cognitive behavioural theory of how the mind and body works under certain circumstances. And then they'll teach you about body language. You do a really in-depth package on body language and non-verbal communications and things like
Oh.
that. That's really interesting.
I guess I started off with
And then
230
you talk
question.
we have 2 psychs that come on, 2 civilian psychologists that talk to you about why the
All
body
right,
does what it does. and
we're
the,
good.
Like fight, flight or freeze.
Boom, boom.
Talk about
All right,
those reactions.
let's
and
go
why
back
the body
to
reacts like that.
what?
And what else is involved on your course? Do you also get interrogated yourself?
Yeah.
14
That's the
question
interesting
mark.
part because it's really bizarre. You do a bit of training, you do some techniques where you go in different rooms and you sort of do a little bit of practicing, as it were. And then you basically get kidnapped and they lull you into a false sense of security. So you've had a night before where you're going out and have a bit of a drink, so you don't get in till late. And then in the morning they'll do quite a hard PT session. So you do a PT session in the gym. And you go back to the classroom and they said, oh, we're going to go through interviews now with the boss. So sort of a mid-course interview. I'm sat in this chair and I could see marks on the wall. And there were clearly boot marks, but I was like, what's the marks on the wall? So I was having a cup of tea with the OC and he'd about 5 minutes. How do you think you're getting on the course? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm feeling good, sir, yeah. oh, that's great. And then all of a sudden the door burst open. About 4 or 5 blokes with balaclavas on just come racing in. So I've tried to get up. So if I'm on a chair like this, they just smash me off the chair. So I've grabbed
48.
one of them. I've tried to punch one, but I couldn't. 728. So I've bit one of them. With these teeth, I could kill someone. Right? What are you laughing at? Serious here. So I've tried to bite one of them, and then I can feel a knee in my head. Then they're trying to plastic off me, but I'm quite strong, aren't I? So I'm like, I've got to try and resist. I've always been told, you've got to try not to be captured. So I'm trying to resist, and I thought I'm trying to escape, because escape at the earliest opportunity. And I've managed to sort of get onto my knees, and then another one's just booted me to the floor. And I've smashed, I could feel my nose bleeding a bit. I was like, and then they've got the cuffs on me. And then because I could hear one of them going, you bit me. You bit me. So as they were carrying me out, I hit every door on the way out with my head. Then they threw me in the back of a transit van. You think, am I in the army still? Because it's so bizarre that you're getting basically beaten up on an army camp. So they take your blindfold off, and then they're just shouting at you, berating you. Then they'll try a nice tactic where they'll be really friendly to you, and they'll sing you a nice comfort. Would you like a cup of tea? Oh, this is nice. Would you like this? Would you like some dry boots? Or would you like this? And it's so bizarre. It's just the weirdest thing I've ever gone through. They'll sit you in a dog cage, and you've got to try and build a rapport with the guard. So you'll go, excuse me, sir, I couldn't have a drink of water, could I? And he's got a hose pipe, and he just soaks you. Thank you, sir. Like, are you married, sir? And he won't speak to you. He'll just go, fuck, something like that. And you just got to keep trying. Have you got children, sir? Just wet you again. And then some people in the other cages just give up and just think, and just sit there. Oh, do you like sports, sir? And then he'll start talking. Yeah, I don't mind. I like sports. So you've got to try and build that rapport.
Why do they put you in a dog cage?
Because they can. It's all to do with exposures, and they keep you outside. You sat in the cold. They'll keep wetting you, and they put you in a dog cage because it's that dislocation of expectations. So you're in a different environment that you're not used to.
This guy might be one of the most badass humans to ever live. His name is Johnny Kim, and I'm convinced he just doesn't sleep. Starting from a working class immigrant background, Johnny decides to become a Navy SEAL and even gets awarded the Silver Star for saving multiple Iraqi soldiers under fire. Now, get this, while still in the Navy, Johnny graduates from his degree in math at the top of his class, but he decides that's not cool enough, so he goes and gets a medical degree from Harvard. If I stopped here, that's already a ridiculous life story. But guess what? While he's working as an emergency doctor and still in the Navy, Johnny decides to become a NASA astronaut.
What the fuck?
And he'll be going on a mission to the moon in the next few years as NASA gears up to set up a permanent moon base on the moon's south pole. If we ever do have to fight off aliens, I vote
Dude's
that
a
we
beast.
send Johnny to fight them for us. This
Damn.
guy might be
Astronaut,
one of the most badass
a
humans
Navy
to
SEAL,
ever live. His name is Johnny
and
Kim,
emergency
and I'm
doctor.
convinced he just doesn't
Imagine.
sleep. Starting from a working class immigrant background, Johnny
Any problems with your hair?
Aside from the obvious, like
Women banned from speaking in public?
Damn.
3 years after the Taliban's return to power, a new
This is
law
from
has
21.
been passed.
Afghanistan is just
Women
on a whole
must
different level.
cover their face.
Not gonna lie.
Taliban's return to power. A new law has been passed.
50
saying that
herb
women must
achieved.
cover their face and body
Let's go.
if they leave the house, and their voices cannot be heard in public. Despite the risk to themselves, some women have spoken out
7:30.
and have been telling the BBC's Yogita Limai
Wow.
what life is like for them now. We have hidden their identities and used actors' voices to protect them. It's increasingly difficult for foreign journalists to report from Afghanistan.
Yeah, I bet.
This is Yogita's report, compiled along with camera journalist Sanjay Ganguly and producer Imogen Anderson.
It sucks, yeah, it's nuts.
Every moment you feel like you're in a prison. Even breathing becomes difficult.
Well,
They're
yeah,
like
you
dead
got the thing over
bodies
your
moving
face.
around.
Dead?
We can't talk. We can't do anything.
Jesus Christ.
This is a country where women are increasingly being pushed out of view. Their freedoms crushed bit by bit by a relentless series of diktats. The latest, a published law. This
Wow.
section says that if a woman must leave her home out of necessity, she's obliged to cover her face and body, and her voice must not be heard. We've had to be very careful and discreet when talking to women here.
Definitely
because they're
lost a lot of money
operating in an environment of brutal restrictions, and now the Taliban's morality police have been given sweeping powers. It's only been
Wow.
a few weeks since the law was announced, so it's unclear how stringently it'll be implemented, but already there's a ripple effect of fear that you feel when speaking to people here. We meet teenage girls who've already lost 3 crucial years of education.
Oh,
Their
right,
voices
because,
might
yeah,
need
of
to be
course.
hidden, but they want their words to be heard.
In
If we go
OSRS,
out, we're
I'm going to
scared.
start by
If we
showing
take
the
a bus
fastest
or remove our
possible
masks,
pathway
we're
to level
scared.
99.
If we speak louder, we're scared. There's so much fear and stress.
Damn.
If we can't speak, then why go out at all?
On the screen
Why
is
even
the
live?
entire pathway with the XP rates, costs,
Until last
and
year,
amounts.
groups of
It
women
costs
took to the streets demanding their
287
rights,
mil at the
risking
current
violence and
prices,
detention.
and will realistically
Well, that didn't
take
work.
6 to 8 hours if you use Windows mouse keys
I
or
wonder,
a touch
like, what the
screen.
male
the first
population
6
there
levels
thinks
are
of
done by fletching bronze
Because, like, I
arrows,
wonder how
which are
many
the
of them
fastest
agree
until
with
you
it.
unlock bronze
Like,
guards.
obviously,
You
like,
can
it's
use
hard to get a
Dragonfruit
straight
pies
answer
to
because
boost
of,
by
like,
4
the
levels,
oppressive.
so you can create
But, like,
bronze
yeah,
guards
they
at
don't
level
care.
6.
Yeah, it's nuts,
Along the
man.
entire
This is
pathway,
what they
you can
want.
take advantage
I
of these
really wonder.
pies to access the next methods 4
The
levels
Taliban
early.
cracked down
There
on
are
the
no
marches
quest
until they
requirements
stopped
to fletch
altogether.
darts. You only need to complete the Temple of
This
Ikov
woman
quest
broke
to
down,
smith
telling us
dart
how
tips.
she was
So you
detained
can train
last
with
year
this entire
while
pathway
participating in
straight from
protests.
Tutorial Island. Darts are made with feathers
99%
and dart
because of
tips,
religion.
and
You
to
think
process
this
them
wouldn't
quick-
happen without religion? I think it would still happen without religion. It would just be maybe like they wouldn't call it a burqa, they'd call it something else. But like, yeah, sure. I mean, like religion is like a good vehicle for doing this, but it's not the only vehicle on the market.
The Taliban beat me and dragged me into a vehicle saying, "Why are you acting against us? This is an Islamic system." They took me to a dark, frightening place and insulted me with terrible words.
What the
We were treated like animals. After being released from detention, we weren't the same people we were before.
Jesus Christ.
Now, this is how
Uh-oh.
Afghan women are showing dissent.
Oh.
Posting videos of themselves online, singing songs, criticizing the
Uh-oh.
Taliban's actions.
That's a mistake.
We met Hamdullah Fitrat from the Taliban government.
Aha, here we go.
He didn't want to be seen with a woman or sit directly opposite me, but he answered my questions. We asked how he could justify the law.
The laws that have been introduced have been approved by the supreme leader in accordance with Islamic.
Oh my God.
Been introduced have been approved by the supreme leader
Yeah.
in accordance with Islamic Sharia.
Sure.
Any religious scholar can check.
These guys are crazy, bro.
Most of the girls and women we've spoken to in your country say they are prepared to wear whatever it is that your government prescribes as long as you allow them to study. And because they're not being allowed to do that, they're being driven to the point of depression, even suicidal thoughts. Isn't it your responsibility as a government to listen to those voices and act on it?
Absolute.
Then act on it.
Absolutely. Our sisters' education is an important issue.
Then why can't they
We
get
are
it?
trying to resolve this, which is the demand of a lot of our sisters.
Okay.
We have mentioned it several times in the past too.
For sure.
That our leadership is working on it. A solution will be found.
It's been 3 years now since girls were locked out of schools, but it hasn't happened on the ground. Do you really expect people to believe that you are committed to actually doing it?
We are awaiting the decision of our leadership.
The supreme leader will decide. That
In a
makes
province
sense.
not far from Kabul, we found some evidence that at least a section of the Taliban differs with the supreme leader.
Uh-huh.
We were given rare access to a midwife training course run by the Taliban government. All the students are in their 20s. Here, they're being taught how to nurse a woman in labor.
Uh-huh.
It's a rare exception. But behind closed doors, some Afghan women are taking matters into their own hands. We meet a teacher who runs a secret school for girls.
Oh boy.
When the new law came, I explained its rules to my students and told them things would become even more difficult. Every day I wake up asking God to make the day pass safely. Several times I've had to change the location of the school.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a quiet act of defiance and hope.
I'm now in Delhi after more than 2 weeks of being in Afghanistan, and one of the other ramifications of the new law is on relations between the Taliban and the international community, which have become increasingly difficult and
I would
unpredictable.
expect that.
And it had seemed quite different just about 2 months ago. At the end of June, for the first time ever, the Taliban went to attend UN.
The fuck did they expect? It's the Taliban. Like,
Nice,
really?
29
I mean, what
fletching.
is this?
Led
Duh.
talks in Doha. It was seen almost as a breakthrough at that time. It was a meeting that Afghan women rights activists and civil society activists had been kept out of. The UN had come under fire for that, but people within it obviously had thought it was worth the risk. But now they're questioning whether there was any point in conceding to the Taliban's request for that meeting.
Damn, I feel bad for females, bro. Out in Afghanistan.
Well,
They're hella suppressed.
Right? And so, like, whenever you're talking about religious extremists or religious zealots, there's never a point that you can reason with them or explain things to them, because they're not thinking in the terms of you thinking. Like, they don't think logically. They read a book and then they do what the book says. That's it. So if what you're saying contradicts the book, then you're wrong. It's that simple. So I don't know why people don't get this. I think that there's a lot of people that don't really understand, like, how strong some people's you know, like, what's the word for it, like how strong their like their indoctrination is, because it is really bad. God's words versus yours. Yeah, exactly. Conviction. Yeah, this is just, I mean, it's literally the fucking Taliban. I mean, what the hell do you expect, right? I mean, fuck. Like, this has always been how they've done things. Yeah, their view on faith is compromised, like any highly religious group. I mean, Taliban is not Islam. I mean, I think well, that's not what they think. Hey, and here's the thing, is that you're always going to see people saying, like, yeah, well, that's not really the way it's supposed to be. I'll link you guys the video, right? I don't want to have a debate on what your religion is or what it isn't or anything like that. I fully understand that, like, I mean, Christians have done things that are similar to this. Like, we don't really do that as much anymore now, or at least in a lot of Western countries we don't. But, like, yes, obviously Islam is not the only... Islam does not have a monopoly on the oppression of women. Everybody knows this. Every normal person knows this. However, this is bad. It's bad. It's not good. After watching this video, you'll still say that they would do this without religion, because earlier you said that they would find another reason, or am I misunderstanding? I think that religion definitely serves as an aggregating force and like an agitating force of, like, making people feel like they're more justified to do bad behavior. But I don't think that you need religion to do bad behavior. And I think that bad behavior and the oppression of people is something that is a universal thing. So, like, yes, this oppression is an outcome of their religion, but the oppression is not, like, it's not like if you remove the religion, you're going to remove the oppression. You're still going to have the same people with the same general values. That's the point that I'm making, is that it might be more, it might feel better to kill people because of a religion or oppress people because of a religion, but people will find the way to do it no matter what. You need fantastic belief? Well,
33
it's not a scapegoat.
fletching.
I do think
Here
that
we come.
there's a huge problem that people have where they view that you're not able to criticize religion because it's somehow beyond you know, criticism or something like that. I find this to be a very problematic mindset, and I totally disagree with it. I think that every religion should be able to be criticized completely, and different. There are a lot of bad ideas in religion that should not be moved forward into culture, right? North Korea is religious? I don't even know. I have no idea. It's like criticizing God, which is a no-no to them. Yeah, exactly. Criticize, but don't misrepresent. What I've noticed a lot is that people say that you're misrepresenting whenever you're criticizing them. I think that, like, it's easy to say that you're misrepresenting, but whenever you look at the outcomes of something like this, I think that matters a lot more than what anything else does. They misrepresent themselves. Yeah, I mean, like, the representation, like, how are we the ones that are misrepresenting if this is clearly what's happening here? Individual faith is fine, but religion's terrible. I think that, like, I mean, I'm very much, like, not a, like, I'm not really a religion hater. I'm not really a religion enjoyer either. I think that religion is it a net positive or a net negative? It's probably a net negative, if I had to guess. But I do think that there are a lot of people that use religion to improve their lives.
I wonder if I can get 35 fletching with this inventory. I think after 35, I'm going to take a little break and be back later tonight.
You don't need a set of laws to know something's evil. The people that hide behind a book are evil and just are evil. It's just like a corrupt politician. Well, not from their perspective, right? I mean, like, a corrupt politician usually knows that they're corrupt. Like, a person who's following a religious doctrine and doing something like that doesn't think that they're corrupt. I think that it's very important to keep that distinction. People can be extremists without religion. Yeah, no, I think that you're right. You can't have morals without religion. I think you can. Why do you need religion for morals? Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. Yeah, false. Yeah, I don't really see how that. Yeah, why not? You have a brain? Yeah, of course. Any form of extreme philosophy is doomed because to become monstrous will bring fucked up results, not only religious ones. Yeah, I think you're right about that. But yeah, it's generally what I think.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. One more inventory. Come on. Can I do it? I think it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Right on the dot, dude. Nice. Alright, let's sell these little crappers. Oh, I lost so much money on those. Alright, so we are at 35 fletching. 741. I need 9 more levels until LMS. And then it's time to grind some LMS. Alright. Well, it's been a good stream. 43 minutes. I got a lot done in 43 minutes. I've done a lot off stream, though. I will say this. Alright, before this cat dies, let's get it. Let's feed this little rat. I'm picking it up because